This is the first in a series of lessons where we're going to look at exponents and develop the exponent laws. So first, a little bit of terminology. We can refer to something as a power of 2, which means that we're starting with a base of 2. And in this particular example, the exponent, which is usually written a little bit smaller and as a superscript, is 3. Now, what does this really mean? It just means that we're going to take 3 of the bases, in this case 2, and multiply them all together. So we have 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So exponents simply developed as shorthand notation for repeated multiplication. Multiplication itself you can think of as shorthand for repeated addition. So it's just sort of one further level of abstraction. Now, a few things to be careful about. Powers of -2. A base can be any number, positive or negative, but all of our examples that we're going to look at and that you're going to see in the exams are going to be integers. Now, you have to be really careful if the base is negative. So, for instance, here's a couple of powers of -2. -2 to the exponent 2, -2 to the exponent 3. So in the first case, this means we're going to take the base, -2, and the exponent is 2, so there's going to be 2 of them. When we multiply them, we get positive 4 because it's a negative times a negative. In the second example, we have -2, and there's 3 of them. So when you multiply the first 2, you get positive 4. Multiply that by -2, and you have -8. So powers of -2 are sometimes going to be positive, sometimes negative. One quick way to tell is if you have an even exponent, as we do in the first example, they're going to pair up, and you're always going to have a negative times a negative, which gives you a positive. Whereas if you have an odd exponent, as we do in the second example, there's always going to be one extra base left over, and so you're going to end up with a negative result. Now, one thing to be really careful about is in the first case here, I've got a negative sign, a 2, and an exponent of 2. In the second case, I have brackets enclosing the base -2. So in the first case here, the base is actually 2. Whereas in the second example here, the base is actually -2. So another way to think about this is order of operations. The negative sign is considered multiplication. It's like you're multiplying by -1. And so if you remember the order of operations, you have to evaluate the exponent first. The exponent only acts on whatever's immediately to the left of it. So in the first case, the exponent is acting on the 2, positive 2. 2 to the power of 2 is 4. So this is really the same as putting the 2 to the power of 2 in a bracket. And so this is -4. Whereas the second, the right-hand side of this is -2 times -2, which is positive 4. And these are definitely not equal. So you have to be really careful whether or not the base is a positive or negative. Just because you see that negative sign there, don't let that confuse you.